Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another video. Now, Miss Shenika has responded, gave her thoughts on Clarissa just losing it on live yesterday and calling her names and just being extremely disrespectful. So I have the clips. It could have been more said, but this is from what I saw on my feed. So I clipped it and we're going to get into it, right? Let's just take a look at the first clip.
I asked that question from a place of care. I'm sitting here, we're interviewing a 31-year-old champion in her field. I'm feeling her energy. It's upbeat, but I can tell that there's more going on than meet the eye. And as I led in my question, I said, I've been here before. A lot of women have been there before. And what I don't like most in the way that she was even like presented to my attention was the fact that it was Remy saying her name first and saying that you were on the phone with, my husband. And I was like, wait, hold on. Is this the girl with the same, with the movie out and the boxer that you keep telling us about?
Right.
I asked that question from a place.
All right, so Miss Shenika is just taking us through how she felt about Clarissa initially before being exposed by Remy and putting two and two together because she saw her as a rising star, and that happening with Remy exposing, she's like, wait, this is who Remy's talking about? Like this girl right here, the boxer, the one that has the movie coming out. So she's in radio and media, so maybe she was more aware of Clarissa, as far as before being exposed. Once again, myself as well as a lot of people that I've seen comment and say in, podcasts or things like that weren't aware of Clarissa unless you were kind of in the boxing world or like Miss Shenika was in media. So she was aware of who she was and was surprised to see that that's who Remy was exposing, right? Once again, I did not know who Clarissa was. I believe I saw the photo of her and Papoose at that fight. But at that point, I'm not thinking they were messing around. When I saw that, I'm thinking like, okay, because Remy was supporting her too at that time. I remember that. I remember Remy was supporting Clarissa. I remember seeing her like tweet something or say something and mention her name. That's why when I saw the photo of Clarissa and Papoose at that fight, I'm not thinking that they were like, already messing around until everything came out. And now that I'm looking back, I'm like, this is why Remy wasn't there. Like, okay, now it's making sense. So let's get into this next clip to see what else Miss Shenika had to say.
So I'm putting these facts together, and over time, from people speaking on the way that she looks or the way that she acts or the way that she dresses, I'm looking at this young, successful lady, and I'm just like, I hate that for you. Mm-hmm. I hate that people are, looking at you and your talent, but your drama and who you chose to love is overshadowing that. So yes, I wanted to know, I wanted to know what I guess most people, I didn't know that she hadn't been asked that before, but it was in my spirit. It was nothing that I wrote down on paper. It literally, girl, how long are you willing to let this overshadow your career? So I'm putting these facts together, and over time.
Okay. So you heard Miss Shenika. She really was coming from a place of like, how long are you going to let this impact your career, hurt your career, overshadow your career? That's the place she was coming from. But when she mentioned Remy in the first clip, I just wish she would have said it. I would really love to know why. I really believe before Clarissa does these interviews, even though they ask her about Pap and everything, I think that she makes it clear to not bring up Remy. But she brings up Remy. You see what I'm saying? Like, it can't be a direct question to her like what she just said. I wish the text messages, that situation would have been brought up, because Clarissa would have then, I think, refused to answer it. I really do. Even though she talked all of that, about you were in my face and this and that, like, and I did this and I went off. Like, no, you did not. But my thing is, I wish Miss Shenika would have said that. Why is this not being brought up about the text messages and the relationship that she had with Remy via DMs and however they were communicating via text? And everyone else is always concerned in telling her about her career and how she's ruining it. But obviously she does not care about that. And that's what I'm a bit tired of that aspect of it, because Clarissa herself does not care about how it's ruining her career. So when other people now are like, I'm worried, and you had such a bright future ahead, and you're letting this just overshadow everything, but she doesn't care about that. Everyone doesn't have to be concerned when they speak to her about this. And Miss Shenika definitely said how she can relate. However, Clarissa didn't see it as her trying to, just open up to her and so-called coming from a place of concern. It doesn't have to be coming from a place of concern. Her job is to come up on the radio station to promote what she got going on. So she actually needs the radio station more than you guys need her. And I understand the radio station's job is to have guests up there, and of course it helps as far as them getting ratings and viewership and everything. But at the end of the day, Clarissa is not this huge star that people need. She can definitely be banned from being interviewed if she's going to make threats and come up there and act like she's going to refuse to say this and not say that. And if you ask me this, I'm going to do this. They need to start taking a stance and show her how much she's not needed, how much they can succeed and continue to have guests without having her up there. She's done too many interviews as it is. This is going to be the same thing now. When she has a fight, she's going to unravel. She's going to try to cause all kinds of controversy, attention seeking, just all kinds of things, because she needs the attention on her all the time. It's a repeated pattern. It's nothing new to hear in these interviews, unless she's willing to talk about those text messages and why was she reaching out to Remy and being cool with Remy and things like that. Because that's the one thing that people are not saying that Clarissa is still able to get over on. She'll sit down and they make it, she always is talking about divorces and he filed, but what about you trying to be friends with Remy though? What about that? Do people not understand that right there alone is enough to see that Clarissa is grimy? I mean, what else? I don't get it. People keep overlooking that. That's always been the issue that I've had since I found out what was going on. No matter what was going on between Papoose and Remy in their marriage, who was stepping out on who, whatever was going on, he was still sleeping there on that couch. He was still there. So if he would have been so hurt and Remy was this big cheater, why would it take for him to get with Clarissa to file for divorce? He would have been done that. He would have been on his way to being a single man. That way, by the time he got with her, him and Remy would have been done. Let's get into this third clip. I think Young Joc is speaking on here.
I think that it was an attack. I just felt that you're an OG, you're an older woman, and I feel like when you opened it up and you said, "I've been here before," I felt like that was your olive branch.
The bridge.
Yeah, the bridge coming into the combo, because you were trying to let her know, hey, I understand what you're coming from. But what it seems like as a man, what I saw, okay, real quick, it was like the Barbara and Shirley moment. Not you telling her about something that she got going on, but it was a personal kind of question, right?
Not the barber, the Barbara.
Barbara. That's what I said, Barbara. If it was a personal moment, I think that she probably would have answered that question a little differently, because I think it felt like you was coming from saying, hey, look, you're successful. You got all this going on. You are at the top of your pinnacle for what you do. You're there. Why are you subjecting yourself to this situation? It's really none of. I think that it was an attack.
See, I need Wendy Williams back. For all of you who leave that in my comment section, you are 1,000% correct. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I agree, because I don't like the backpedaling. I don't like it. It is okay for you to be on the radio, for you to do an interview and ask a messy question. Charlemagne, you already know how you came up. Being Wendy Williams' sidekick, she was revealing it all, and you were there to anchor the whole thing. When it comes to this, it seems like what they're doing right here is trying to like low-key apologize to Clarissa. Like, I didn't mean it like that. I wasn't coming from a place like that. It's okay if you were coming from a place like that. It really is okay, especially the way she carries on online. This is not like she's private. She doesn't even show papoose. We don't even hardly know what they have going on. That's a different story. But for someone who wants all the smoke and then you get it, all of a sudden now it's a problem and you're doing too much. You can't ask me that. Why not? Because Clarissa can jump in the comment section at any given time and say whatever she wants to say. She drags and says whatever she wants to say to people. And now they have to do this professional move and make it seem like, okay, I didn't mean it like that. Woman to woman, Barbara and Shirley. I wasn't getting none of that. Just because Miss Shenika said she'd been there before, she's letting Clarissa know, okay, I've been here before. Let me ask you. I didn't take it as no Barbara Shirley moment. Like, no, not at all. Not at all. And Clarissa wasn't asked that particular question before, but she was definitely asked about, did Papoose know you were having a baby? I think something like that at the other radio station. So she is asked about Papoose, okay? Why does it have to be it's coming from a place of concern? No, it's coming from a place of entertainment, being that she wants to get online and literally post her every move. She can't even go train in the gym without either going live, posting herself, reading comments. If you can't see how much she loves being online and getting into the mix of things with whoever, and then she works herself up to the point where she gets upset and then starts calling people names. This is what she'd rather do than focus on what she has going on. For her to act like, because she's up at a radio station, how dare you ask me this? Like, what do you mean? Because this is all you talk about. Miss Shenika didn't go digging for dirt. This is literally what Clarissa puts out here. She's referring to Papoose as her husband already. She's constantly throwing digs and jabs at Remy. Why do people have to sit back and be nice about it when they talk to her? And then on top of that, after her live, she's still going. She's still threatening to air it out and things like that. Miss Shenika, she literally said that you cheated on your husband or something with a barber or whatever it was, that whatever tea she was acting like she was dropping on you. You have a right to respond to that. You have a right to feel a way about that. And you should be able to say it. I don't know if it was said in this interview because these are the only clips that I saw from it. But so far, I have not seen her address that. Let's get into this last. I don't know if this is the last clip. I don't think so. It's like two more. Let's look at the next one.
When you're looking at someone and you're just like, wow, like this, she could have more endorsements, more opportunities. I feel like, and more respect in our community. A lot of people in our community don't respect her because of how she was presented to so many of us. It's so unfair to be made up, for people to make fun of how you dress, how you walk, how you talk, look, how you act, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like calling you all of these names. And what did I say? I said, she's a beautiful girl. Yeah. Like when she left. So once what we do on the radio hit online, it became... It had a whole nother face to it. What I did not know is that no one ever asked her that question. I had no idea. And so it was, people that we know going against me. Oh, it was an inappropriate question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when you're looking at someone and you're just like,
See, I hear what she's saying, because people are trying to give her the heat, saying that's an inappropriate question. But inappropriate questions, this happens in interviews. Anyone growing up, I mean, come on. If you remember the old radio days when Envy was with Miss Jones, you had Wendy, who had Charlemagne, you had Star and Buck Wild. I mean, this question, I mean, just the sensitivity is what gets me, because Clarissa does not come off that way. I would understand her being picked on and things like that if she wasn't constantly bragging and talking down on people. She's receiving the energy that she puts out there. That is the issue with her. She loves the negative attention, even though she'll act like she doesn't. It's more of a control matter. But she chooses to get into it almost on a daily. If she's not going live, going off on people, you had the altercation with Alicia. She made the song, or the hook, I say, about Alicia. She has really been on a roll for a long time. So for people now to talk about what she could have, that's her fault. Because she's been put in a position where she could have possibly gotten these things. She could have been endorsed in all of the good stuff to where she would have been well off now in her career. But she's not respected because she doesn't give off that she should be respected. She's not respectable, at least not to me. And that's the problem. There are so many people who are so talented and in other fields, other professions, and they have ruined their careers because of their actions. Because they possibly could be locked up by now, could have committed a crime to where they're locked up and just threw their whole career away. At this point, Clarissa's medals and her accolades and her, titles, championships, all of that, if she really cared about that, the way she talks about it and brags about it all the time, she doesn't act like she cares about that anymore. She says it as a means of people to do what she says. It's like, I've made it here, so like, you better respect me, you better say this, you better say that, you better not ask me this, and things like that. She has been just completely going off for 2 years now, ever since they've been exposed. She's a complete bully. She's not likable. And just because someone has 2 gold medals and 18 championships or whatever, doesn't mean that that's an automatic like from someone. You have people that have none of those accolades and they're liked. It's just what it is. She's not likable. And she seems like she doesn't care to be liked. That, at least that's what she says, even though I think deep down she definitely does care about it, but she has this cockiness about her and this arrogance that you just can't help her. She's going to have to realize how she needs to help herself. So at this point, I'm just tired of hearing people say that about her. And Miss Shenika, you have every right to talk on the side. If you want to do an interview with somebody, like, who is Clarissa to sit here and say you can't talk about it? I was there, say it to my face. Like, what? Let's get into this last clip from this.
when Kenny had to say, yo, stop responding on the blogs because it was overwhelming. And then I went to the next thing I know, I seen, she said, well, the God is working on me because I would have answered it different, or the next person that asked me something like that, I'm not going to,
I ain't gonna let it slide. But she shouldn't have called Shyneka any type of names. I don't care what she want to say. Just like how you said you got mutual friends, how she did it, they could have had a conversation outside of it. Like the calling the fat and Miss Piggy and all that was unnecessary, uncalled for.
It was.
And again, I think the organic, groundswell of everything that happens social media wise, as I said, the phones get the ringing and people like that. it happens. What are your thoughts on this situation, man? Because I don't think Miss Shyneka was really coming from a place of hurt. It was a place of care, and I think it just got twisted in the whole interaction of things.
Kenny had to say, yo, stop.
So, okay, you just heard the girl. I don't know who the other girl that spoke. I don't know her name, but you heard her speak about Miss Shenika being called fat and Miss Piggy, and that was disrespectful. And this is the problem. People are taking up for Clarissa for responding, right? However, nobody's saying that Clarissa's wrong for calling her these names. That's why I say, Miss Shenika, you don't have to explain yourself why you asked her that question. You really don't. You don't have to explain yourself, especially after that live yesterday. It's nothing to. You don't have to explain yourself. It doesn't have to come from a place of concern. It really doesn't. Like I said, radio interviews for years have been messy. For years. This is nothing compared to what people used to be asked when they would sit down in an interview. And nothing would happen to the person that interviewed them. Why is Clarissa, this big bad wolf, this big bully, is so sensitive? For someone who left his wife and filed for you. You should be happy to speak about that, right? But you know deep down in your heart how wrong it is and how wrong you were. So my thing is this. If she's asked this again, you know, in a different form, a different way, or whatever, I don't feel this should be asked to Clarissa again unless they mention her befriending Remy. I need to see her answer to that. Because when it comes to Papoose, she's going to do the same thing that she's doing right now. That needs to be brought up. The whole Remy situation. Because people seem to forget that. People seem to act as if it doesn't matter. Like, no. That is a problem. All real women who are loyal, who are not fake, that is a problem to a real woman like that. That was wrong on all levels. I don't care about who was cheating, what was going on. Like I said again, their marriage was their marriage. It probably wasn't perfect. Things were happening. We don't know everything that went down between Papoose and Remy before Clarissa came in the picture. It's like, I don't know what else to say. Clarissa was wrong. She started sleeping with a man that his wife she was friends with, needing advice from. It's just like, that's the issue for me. So guys, let me know what you think. Please drop a comment. Let me know what you think about Miss Shenika explaining herself when it comes to Clarissa. It's just like, at this point, I'm tired of, people don't owe her no type of sympathy at this point. They really don't. You know? So let me know what you think. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Please hype the video and like it. And I will talk to all of you again soon.